Laurie and welcome to The Vibe, a Teesside University podcast. I'm joined here by Emma, and today we're going to be chatting to you all about budgeting and the cost of living and just ways to make your life as a student that extra bit easier. Emma, do you just want to give the listener a little bit about yourself?
So I'm Emma. I am in my first year at events management. I started in foundation, which I actually started doing health science and then decided that I didn't like it. So I changed and moved into events.
Fab. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So when it comes down to budgeting, obviously, as we've spoke about, off camera, you kind of, you're a mum, and obviously that's going to affect your budgeting. So when it came for you looking at university, what kind of budgetary things did you kind of take into consideration?
So obviously I get benefits with helping to look after my child. I also get maintenance from a partner. Like from my daughter's dad, and obviously that can be taken into consideration when I apply for a student loan. Sometimes I can lose certain benefits and things like that, so I had to make arrangements and make sure that I had childcare, that I didn't have to pay for childcare, and then getting here and budgeting how to obviously I'm living with parents again now, so it's not too bad, but obviously living away from home I had to decide whether I was going to uni or having a house, basically. Yeah.
Fantastic. And when you got to uni, kind of, how have you kind of budgeted and managed your income? Because, it's quite a big old task. It's not something you ever think about before you start uni,
No, it isn't. No, I mean, what I've decided is I've got two bank accounts. So one is for bills, and then one is what I can sort of use in daily life. So obviously, if I have to do parking, if I have to eat on campus or petrol, that's not cheap anymore. And obviously, anything my daughter might need for nursery, like going on trips or anything like that, I have to budget for and then put that into the bill side of things and then whatever I've got afterwards.
And with your bank account, did you so I'm going to name drop here.
That's okay.
When I was looking at uni, I remember I looked at the Martin Lewis Money Saver, websites, other ones are available, I don't know if I have to say that, but he does a rank of all the best kind of student deals for bank accounts and stuff like that. Did you have a look at that?
I must admit I didn't.
Well, that's
I
fine.
just sort of went in blindsided thinking, I'm with Santander, I will stay with that. And then obviously you see different things that come up, like Chase Bank or Sterling, things like that are independent, they're all online. I thought, well, I could make that into my bills. They actually help you to see what's coming out, what's not coming out, and what you've got in or how much you need to put into them accounts to tell you, how to manage your money. So I thought they would be good for me because I'm not very good at money. So
well, everything that helps, isn't it, really? I mean, I had a look and the bank I ended up going with was the best one, but then when I came to do my postgrad, I looked again because they do change. So it's definitely a bit of advice there for people. But as you've said, even if they're giving you a good offer, it's not going to be beneficial for you.
Not really.
In terms of, you need someone just to kind of help you kind of plan and see
manage,
when dates
what's coming out, because I'm not very good at dates, so it's at least they tell us a bit of a notification.
Yeah. And did you look at any scholarships or anything when you were applying?
I didn't, no.
That's all
because
right.
I'm classed as a mature student, so there wasn't really much out there, I thought anyway, to help me go to university, because I'd already had qualifications, so it was hard to get grants for them because I'd already studied elsewhere in the past.
Because there is a section on our website which is there, and you can actually most of them are open to every course. Some of them are open to quite course specific ones, but you can actually log on and have a look and kind of be like, oh yeah, I could be relevant for that. And my best advice, if you think you're eligible and you meet the criteria, put an application in.
Yeah, true.
Because Shybane's getting out, isn't it?
No, it's very true. Yeah, it is very true.
You've got to put plenty of options in and stuff. Now, I imagine your answer to this might potentially be a bit different, given that your job alongside your university was being a full-time mum.
Well, I had a job and being a mum at the same time. So obviously,
superhero.
So at the beginning, I actually had my own business. So obviously, I went into hair, beauty, makeup. I had a salon for 3 years, then took a mobile, then went to do teaching, so I can actually teach. Obviously, I taught makeup and stuff at a regional level with a different company. But then when lockdown hit, had a baby, and then things changed. So it was a bit of being half mobile, half mum, half, I thought I'll go to uni and add a bit more to it, basically.
Don't have enough on this.
Yeah, exactly, I like a bit of a challenge, so.
And how did you find, juggling the hours with work and obviously having a social and a home life as well as meeting university commitments?
Social life wasn't really a factor because I had a child, so it was just get on with it, do mum things, whatever. But as she's got older and she goes to nursery now, I found this year a lot easier because obviously she wouldn't go to nursery, private nursery, so I had to take her out, get grandparents. But this year's been a lot easier, I think. Now she's at nursery because I can do me uni while she's at nursery, so it's not too bad, really. Juggling's not too bad. I'm fine. I'm winging it. I want to say, yeah.
Because I think you've got to find the balance, don't you? Obviously, you come to university to learn.
Yeah.
But as we all kind of experience now with the cost of living, there is more of a need to have like some extra income coming in.
Oh God, yeah, definitely.
And for you, that was your business and stuff coming in. I was a part-time job. The best part-time job I ever had, and I'm not just plugging this because I'm on the marketing team, but was being a student ambassador.
Yeah.
Because the biggest thing you want, I mean, again, you probably weren't in this situation because you were your own boss, but is making sure your employers know that your priority is your studies.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you're working for the university, then they're not going to let you work when you should be doing lectures and stuff. So I would always, if there's anyone listening and thinking, oh, what would be a good job when I'm at uni? Look for when your student ambassador jobs are kind of coming up and apply for it because they pay blooming well at an hourly rate, and you can do as much or as little as you want, which is always good. Well, how did you find, how much have you used your student discounts? Have you got on the apps for that?
Now and again, my daughter loves Claire's accessories. They do
Other brands are available.
Yes, but you only get 5% with that, but it works. Yeah. I haven't used it too much, but there's not a lot of places now do student discounts. They were quite independent, so they're like, no, we don't do it.
Yeah.
But my mum, she works for the NHS. She gets blue light. I have used that more, to be fair. So a little bit of both now and again. So not a bit of a mixture, I think. Yeah.
Because I mean, the big ones, I would say, uni days. I think Student Beans have one. Give it a Google.
I've downloaded the apps.
Yeah.
But it's just,
And it's worth like keeping an eye out because as long as you have a student email address, you can access these amazing discounts.
Yeah.
And I was surprised, like, I got my mattress.
Spotify as well. That's
I got a mattress that I think it was about 40% off.
Oh, wow.
A mattress, which if you're looking at, as
quite
a young adult,
really,
it's a big investment. And so you do get some things that even though you might not think, as a mum, there's probably nothing relevant for me. There might be some things that come in relevant, and definitely worth keeping there. And obviously, a lot of certain fast food venues give out free cheeseburgers and stuff.
Domino's do that a few times.
Domino's do it. And things like Freshers Fairs are great for that. Like,
yes, I've seen a few.
To name drop Domino's again, other pizza people are available. I'm not going to keep doing that joke, I promise. Is that they'll come in with a pizza box and you can take that. And
yes, I have seen that, but not at Freshers, but I have seen it in different places.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Another good one I found, I mean, you said you drove in.
I do, yeah.
But train discounts can be quite good, like student rail cards. If you're travelling a bit further as well, like let's say you're popping down to London or something, you can do a split up your rail fare type thing.
Right, all right.
So it might mean you have to get off at York and get back on.
I used to do that for Manchester and Leeds, but I was regional anyway, so I used to do that. That would have been quite handy then, really.
Absolutely, and it just works out a bit cheaper. And then and this is coming from it's coming from a place of privilege, but when I did my masters up in Edinburgh and I used to get the train up, and sometimes it was cheaper for me to get the train up to first class, knowing that I'd get a few drinks and a bit of scran, bit of food for free, than having to think, right, well, how am I going to budget my dinner that night?
Well, it is,
It's not every time, but sometimes it can be. And how, so is there any tips that, having been there yourself and done it, is there any tips that you would kind of give to students? And
I do think the 2 bank accounts are quite helpful because obviously with some of them now they actually tell you like how to budget your money, so they actually tell you how much you need in the account, what's in, what's coming out, what to remember, like how to actually, like put savings away and things like that. So I do think having 2 bank accounts so you don't use the money, that you might want for a rainy day or something like that, it just helps know that you're sort of above water in that sense because it is hard for students now.
I agree. I think as well, you can arrange to change the dates that your direct debits come out with the bank. Sometimes, not always. But that's a good one because if right, well, I get paid from my part-time job on the 1st of every month, you can kind of arrange it so that you're not getting all your bills coming out.
You've still got a bit of money to play with.
Yeah, and then it's not like you can then go, right, well, it's all come out and then I've got this much to go. And another roundups on a lot of banks, it started out being, your budgeting apps did it, but now I think most bank accounts have kind of taken on your rainy days or your roundup apps.
A lot of the independent ones do, because I was with Santander and they're quite old-fashioned, if I can say that. But the new, like, you know, leading ones, they have all that technology for you. Santander is quite old, so I just keep that as my money where I can, you know, go out and get petrol or something else or a coffee somewhere where that's fine for me. But the other ones that are quite up to date, they're quite current for people now.
I think it's an old saying, isn't it? It is such a cliche, but the old saying of look after the pennies and the pounds look after themselves.
Well, yeah, it's true.
They really do add up. I think you kind of mentioned about petrol and stuff there, club card points and nectar points. And
a lot of places do that.
All the main big shopping places now have these kind of loyalty schemes and stuff, and they do add up. You know, it does work. And I don't know about you, but I love a good reduced section as well, because you can find a few deals. My brother, when he was at university, he got to know the people at the local supermarket quite well, and they would text him saying, we're just about to put the reduced stuff out. And you can go and you can get like really good deals. It is about the right times with that. But you know, there is a good app, you mentioned it while we're chatting off camera, about the Too Good To Go app. What's your experience using that?
I've used it a few times. I've used it with Costa, and you get quite a lot at the end of the day, so the way to like the close, and then you can get like good, you know, like you can get sandwiches, crisps, whatever. So it's good for actually if you want to keep, you know, like you're doing your dinners for sort of like the rest of the week, you've actually got bits you can budget for in that way.
Absolutely, and I mean, not only is that helping your budget, it's also reducing food waste, so it's a kind of
exactly
brilliant thing there. I think you talked about food, not just because it's just been lunchtime, but you know, it is always good to look at the deals and stuff. I know the SU here at Teesside University has some really good meal deals, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I am wrong, put a little caption on saying Ollie's an idiot. But they do like different levels of the meal deal in the sandwiches at the SU as well, so you can get like just a basic sandwich, crisps and a drink, or you can get like a bit of a nicer sandwich depending on your budget, which is
the Student Life did the same as well, because they do like a pizza, a drink and a biscuit, or like a cake or something, or a bit of fruit for about £5, so they get like quite a big meal.
Brilliant. I mean, just because you're a student, just because money's tight, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to treat yourself.
Yeah, exactly, because the cakes are quite nice on campus, so
oh, they are. Obviously, we talk about food a bit there. You know, what kind of meal planning and stuff, and any tips on there? Because I think it's a big way to save money, isn't it?
Well, yeah, massively. I mean, obviously I would do like a big weekly shop for the rest of the week, and obviously I make sure, like, say when I am in university, say when I've got gaps, because I've got a big 4-hour gap at one point, so I need food. So I obviously tend to put like sort of sandwiches, crisps, biscuits away for like what I need for uni, and then the rest sort of for everybody else in the house. Normally.
I'm a big fan of leftovers for lunch, which I like, you know, particularly if my partner works away quite a bit, so sometimes I'll have her portion for my lunch the next day. I know, but again, when I was at uni, I was in student accommodation, and we got to know each other before we moved in, and it was quite a big thing that we all discussed. We got to know each other on Facebook first. It was like, right, well, I'll bring this, you know, I'll bring my plate. So we didn't end up with 5 identical sets of cutlery, 5 identical sets of plates, you know, 5 ironing boards, that kind of stuff. We all kind of brought it. And then, not all the time, because obviously sometimes you just fancy whatever you want.
Food,
but we would regularly just go, right, well, I'll cook dinner tonight and I'll make sure I do plenty for leftovers. And it, you know, it does help save money. And
I totally agree, mind.
It spreads it out. And other tips, tinned food doesn't really, I know this is grim, but tinned food doesn't really go out of date. It's quite good to have there for a rainy day.
Pasta as well. Pasta's really quite good,
Pop along, you know, most supermarkets, when universities are going back for the year, they put out all the big deals on the massive bags of pasta and rice and stuff. You can heat bread in your toaster to toast it from frozen as well. So
yes, you can.
You know, get that in the freezer, and it does kind of, little bits do go a long way.
Yeah, massively.
Think about it, and the amount of time you probably buy bread, and then you get it, and it's like, oh, that half of that loaf's gone mouldy.
Yeah, what was there?
And obviously, you've mentioned about the fact that you lived at home.
Yes.
Which, you
much
know,
easier.
It did mean, particularly, you know, as a single mum yourself, you had a lot of support from, you know, friends and family, I imagine. And
quite a lot.
How did that help you out?
Well, they say it takes a village to raise a child. Obviously, I had quite a village, so that wasn't too bad. But obviously, I had my mum. Sadly, my dad passed away last year. So I lost that sort of support as well. And obviously my nana, she's 83, but you would think she was about 21. She looks after my 3-year-old as well. So I've got quite a good group really to help us out with my daughter. School at the minute is free. Sort of, I get 15 hours, it's free. Anything else I have to pay for, which is not too bad. But she starts proper school in September, so that's even better. So I get the whole week to myself, sort of thing.
Brilliant.
So it's not too bad. Yeah.
But I mean, like you said, that kind of saves you the budget of having to like look at nursery costs and everything,
massively.
childcare.
Because it's about because obviously I've asked for more hours and it's about £7.50 extra each week for like extra days. So obviously it does work out quite expensive by the time you get the full month out the way. But there is actually a grant you can get on top of your student loan that can help with that as well. So it's called the childcare grant, and that pays towards what you need to to the rest of the childcare. That's not too bad.
I was quite privileged in that my mum was in a position to be able to help me out financially, and it wasn't necessarily throwing me money because she knew I had a job, but it was the little things like every now and then she'd be like, right, I'm doing you a shop, what do you want?
Yes.
You know, what are the basics you need? And she'd get a shop delivered, and then when I'd look in, thankfully, there'd be like a nice steak or a bar of chocolate.
Something you haven't had for a while.
Something I haven't had for a little while, you know, that she'd top up just, you know, as I studied away from home. So I do think, you know, it's the little things I think that do make a difference.
Yes, definitely,
and, you know, it does add up. Worth mentioning as well, if you're listening to this podcast and you're thinking, oh God, I'm really struggling, like you may be a current student, it's definitely worth getting in touch with the Student Life team. The absolute worst thing you can do is suffer in silence. There is loads of support. In fact, there is an episode of this podcast on that you can go back to and listen to. Goes into it in much more detail than I could give you. But get in touch with Student Life. They will support you and offer you tons of advice as well. So I think that's kind of everything we want to discuss. Thank you for joining me and giving your time.
Thank you.
And all the best for the rest of your studies.
Yes, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening. And if you've got any questions at all, please do feel free to get in touch.